G'day and welcome back to the channel, Ginger Ninja's Movie Reviews. I am the Ginger Ninja and these are my Trashy Tuesday movie reviews. If you're new to my channel, thank you very much for tuning in, stopping by and checking it out. If you wouldn't mind, please do hit that thumbs up button, and if you're not subscribed to me already, please do consider subscribing. Now, you're probably wondering what it is I'm doing here and what is Trashy Tuesdays. Well, Trashy Tuesdays is a series that I do where I look at the trashiest films that I can find. Now, these could be new, they could be old, they could be sci-fi, horror, comedy, you name it. And we are looking at a rather new one, and it's a mix of horror and comedy. We are looking at Piranha 3D from 2010. Now, this is obviously a remake of the original Piranha, but let's check this one out. Anyway, before I get into that, I am going to say a big thank you to all my new and existing subscribers. I know I say it every week, but look, it honestly means the world to me. Obviously, I did take a little bit of time off just to move house, got the new setup going, so hopefully you guys are enjoying that. And, you know, I just want to say thank you. Let's get into this one. So, directed by alexandraaja, the film stars elisabethshue, jerryoconnell, richarddreyfuss, adamscott, vingrhames, christopherlloyd, dinah, eliroth, rileysteele, kellybrook, and many, many more. Now, that cast there is just mind-blowing. Touch on that later, though. The plot. After a sudden underwater tremor sets free scores of prehistoric man-eating fish, an unlikely group of strangers must band together to stop themselves from becoming fish food for the area's new razor-toothed residents. Yeah. So look, if you're in the mood for a cinematic masterpiece, look elsewhere. But if you're down for a gory, self-aware thrill ride that revels in its own absurdity, then Piranha 3D might just be the guilty pleasure or just simple pleasure that you didn't even know that you needed. The 2010 horror comedy that this is, it's a remake, like I mentioned, and it takes a basic concept of Joe Dante's 1978 original killer fish, you know, terrorizing unsuspecting victims. We've all been there, we've seen that before, but it just cranks the dial up to 11. And it's trashy, it's bloody, and it knows exactly what it is. And it doesn't shy away from that in any way. Yeah, and I think that's one of the great things about trashy movies, when they know what they are and they revel in it. And this one does it really well. But in order to do that, we've got to jump into the waters with Piranha 3D.
Tuesday's never gonna plan. 80s are in a bunch of tan. VHS tapes down midnight fan. Stop by 9 years, leads up through the night. Alien wars and a neon fight. Android streaming, caught in freaking light. Trashy Tuesdays, it's a pure delight.
Alright, so kicking it off with the cast, and look, it's way better than it should be. And for a movie about killer fish, this cast is surprisingly solid. Yeah, you've got elisabethshue, and she brings an unexpected seriousness, but also a level of warmth as her role as both a mother and the sheriff. Then you've got vingrhames, who gets one of the most badass scenes in the whole film, wielding this outboard motor against a swarm of piranhas. You know, adamscott. You know, mostly I've known him for his comedy roles. In this, he plays dead serious. Plays it really well. christopherlloyd shows up in just this one scene that he's in, wild-eyed scientist, and he delivers some exposition about the fish, and he chews the scenery, and it's just perfection. jerryoconnell. He steals every scene that he's in as this sleazy director, wild girls kind of thing, and he plays it so over the top that you can't help but laugh. You know, all the cast play their roles to perfection, but let's be honest, a lot of them do lack depth, and they serve as little more than fodder for the piranhas. We know who is going to end up as fish food from the get-go. There is no surprises there. I did really enjoy the introduction. Richarddreyfuss on a boat. That's a very clever tribute to another classic aquatic horror. So now on to the directing and the writing. And look, this film unapologetically leans into its B-movie roots, blending horror with dark comedy in a way that is both chaotic and self-aware. Alexandraaja's direction ensures a brisk pace, keeping the narrative moving swiftly from the setup to carnage without unnecessary detours. Despite its simplistic plot, the energy rarely falters, maintaining a sense of relentless momentum that really keeps you as an audience member engaged. And that is what we need in film. Like, you need to be engaged. Anything less, and you start looking at your phone, you start scrolling. This one, you're hooked. The chaos just escalates rapidly, and it delivers a mix of genuinely funny moments and cringeworthy misfires. The self-awareness is both a strength and a weakness. At times, the humor is sharp and clever, but occasionally veers into juvenile territory, undermining the film's more effective beats. It's a very precarious balance. And while it doesn't always stick the landing, its willingness to embrace the absurdity is part of its charm. But let's not pretend anyone's here for the plot. This movie exists to showcase two things: gratuitous nudity and grotesque carnage, and it delivers both with an almost admirable lack of restraint. It revels in its excessiveness, and it's kind of like got this gleeful abandon to it. The result is a film that knows exactly what it is, and it doesn't shy away from its own ridiculousness. And for that, you've got to give it a thumbs up. So, diving into the effects, and look, first off, 3D, not my thing. Honestly, I fucking hate 3D. I think it's a gimmick. I don't like it. I just never got into it, and maybe that's because I do wear glasses, so it's really hard for me to put on those 3D, And this film was designed for 3D. Without the 3D, certain scenes feel awkward and overly staged. There's a few scenes where elisabethshue's character uses a taser and she sticks it out towards the camera. There's a vomiting scene where it just looks like it's supposed to be going towards the camera, and I get it, and that's probably a downside for me not watching in 3D. But there's also the overuse of the CGI effects, and I get it. Some of these were needed, but in particular, the opening scene with Richarddreyfuss, it's not aged well. The CGI looks very poor, where it's this whirlwind of piranhas going around him, and he's bobbing in the water, going down a whirlpool. It just did not work, and it doesn't hold up. The practical effects, on the other hand, this movie serves up practical effects in gut-churning detail. From flayed limbs, ripped off skin, to a particularly infamous scene involving a severed appendage. The gore is creative and unapologetically brutal, and it works. The practical effects team deserve a round of applause and maybe a little bit of therapy. Even the sound design in this one is magic. There's an unsettling mix of frantic splashing and bone crushing and panic screams that just adds to the immersion and the horror. Now on to rewatchability. Yes. Easily a yes. It's just a fun, over-the-top film that's easy to watch with a few beers and have a good time with. It's not high art, and if you go in expecting high art, you'll hate it. But if you're looking for a campy, self-aware horror comedy that's gruesome and best enjoyed with friends and a few drinks, you could honestly do a lot worse. So will I rewatch this one? Hell yeah. So, final verdict. Is Piranha 3D a good movie? Absolutely not. Is it a fun movie? Hell yes. It's an unapologetically trashy gore fest that knows exactly what it wants to be. A bloody, absurd, and campy tribute to B-movie horror. And while it delivers on shocks and laughs for those in the mood for mindless entertainment, its paper-thin plot, excessive nudity, and its reliance on 3D gimmicks prevent it being anything more than a guilty pleasure. And I hate the term guilty pleasure, but it kind of does fall into that bracket. Overall, for a score, Piranha 3D gets a 7 out of 10. There you have it. That is my review of Piranha 3D. Have you seen this film? If you have, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below, because I really do enjoy this film. It's just fun and it's just absurd. But yeah. Anyway, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you do check it out. Like I said, a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please do hit that thumbs up button. And of course, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Hit that notification bell so that way you're notified every time I do release a new review. Now, coming up on the channel, obviously, still continuing with Trashy Tuesdays, and we do have a lot of fun ones planned. We've also got Franchise Fridays, and we're currently looking at the Universal Soldier series. And after that, who knows? I did put a poll up on my, I think they call it post page now, with 3 movies. We've got Paranormal Activity, the Aliens franchise, and the Underworld franchise. So if you haven't, make sure you check that out. It's probably a little too late by now. By the time this is released, I would have counted the votes and be watching them and getting ready for the new one. But anyway, look, keep an eye on that community page. Yeah, because that's where I'm going to be posting a lot of stuff to do with the channel, things like that. So yeah. Now, I also do have something I've been doing which has been a lot of fun, and that's been showing some public domain films. They've been a hell of a lot of fun because these are films that you can watch them with online with friends and just have a chat about them. And they're a lot of fun, and there's some good ones coming up. So keep an eye out for those. I usually do them on a Saturday, Australia time. So yeah, definitely check out those. They're going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.